Beat Draft East. This is Dave Bradshaw here with your next episode of East Mode, which is by far the hottest show when it comes to mediocre basketball in at least Kendall Square. With me this week is Josh Blackborow. Josh, how you doing, man?
Good. How you doing?
Good, thanks. Thanks for joining us on the show. Look, Josh, the Cougar Hunters had a rough go of it for the first month or so of the season. Dustin, your captain, season-ending injury, which was only ruled officially season-ending a couple of weeks ago. You lost some heartbreakers. You didn't really have a full-strength roster, I think, until this past week, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
But
first 4 games we played with a total of 1 sub.
Yeah, I mean that's just brutal, especially in these extended games. However, the good news is, and I don't know if any of the people who watch the show have heard about it, you guys did pull out a nice victory the other night over Swaggy Season.
Swaggy Season. Hashtag Swaggy Season.
Right. Hashtag. Let's not forget that. Now, give me your thoughts on that game. Let me know how that went.
Yeah, it was a big win. I mean, I think honestly our team was better than our record. I think our team not only was better than our record, our team was better than our loss differential. We were losing games by a lot when they weren't blowouts. They didn't feel like we were just getting completely outplayed. We just never quite clicked. It's because we're missing our captain. We're missing the main focal point of our team. He built the team around himself. He got 2 big guys with me and Proctor, a guard, and then Adrian, who's another guard, but we needed a scoring guy because none of us are natural scorers except for Jim, but he's a down low player. So the team didn't click offensively.
Yeah.
But now since we have Ryan, and we have Neil too, who's also not a scoring guard. Now since we have Ryan, it just works so much better.
Yeah, I mean, I've never seen Dustin play, but from what I understand, he would have certainly made a difference in any game he would have played in. Now, so you had the undesirable matchup the other night of you drew Stat on defense, Xavier Holland, for those who don't know. He had 31 points and 25 boards, but it's not as bad as it sounds. I mean, those were tough points to come by. You were all over him on the perimeter and underneath the basket. You had 6 big blocks on him. A couple of them, you swatted his shot back to ancient civilization. I mean, I know you take a lot of pride in your defense. Tell me about how that matchup played out.
So, I don't want to take anything away from him because he's a very good player, and I think he's a smarter player than I think people realize because he kind of, you might think he's sort of a ball hog, but I think it's kind of what his team needs is to him to really suck in the defense so he can dish it out.
Yeah.
But he can't handle the ball. He's not a good ball handler, and he makes it look like he can because he can go by people, but he's not a good ball handler. So if you just keep poking the ball away to him, and if you push him to the sides and to the sidelines, as long as Cap's not calling those fouls, then you're going to be able to because he's not going to be able to cross over and get back into the lane. So that's basically how we stopped him. And then Ryan just did a fucking amazing job when I was out of the game. I mean, he's like a foot and a half shorter than Stat, and he somehow shut him down too. So it was, I think overall, that was a big part of it. Once he gets down low, the best you can do is just put your hands up and try to disrupt the shot, try to get a body on him for offensive rebounds. But he's a tough guy to match up against for sure.
Yeah, he's brutal. I mean, he, I think, scored maybe 24 points on layups underneath the hoop alone. He didn't hit many threes. In fact, he missed, I think he only hit 3 out of 15 on the night, which is a testament to your defense. But, so talk to me more about Ryan. I don't know how to pronounce his name.
I have no idea.
No clue. Andrejko, we'll call it.
Sure.
His name's tough to spell, tough to pronounce, and he's also pretty tough to guard. What's he given your team so far as a free agent pickup?
Yeah, he's just fantastic and exactly what we needed. I mean, he was 3 for 5 from 3-pointers, and they just all felt. I mean, he felt like he hit 12 3-pointers. They were that big, and he can really slash, get to the hoop. He got some fouls drawn on him.
Mm-hmm.
He played really, really tough defense on Stat, and he's, like I said, so much shorter. He's just exactly what our team needed. He's not a selfish player. He passes the ball a lot. He's a really good player.
No, he's great.
Yeah, he's perfect for what our team needed. Plus, I mean, the other thing was that we had subs, which was so big because we've never had subs. I mean, I'm not in good shape, so I would get gassed, and then I just couldn't go out of the game. I just had to keep playing and just let people score on me because I was completely gassed. And this last game, more than any other game in the season, I got gassed right away. And I don't know what it was. I didn't eat or something before the game, but I had nothing. And it was great to just be able to check myself out of the game 3 or 4 times. And Jim was in foul trouble. He was able to go out of the game. Just having subs is amazing.
Yeah, it's a huge advantage. Even if you can just rest for a couple minutes, it's a really big deal. And especially when you have guys with size like Neil Grabowski coming off the bench, who's going to defend the paint and get some rebounds for you. That adds a lot to your roster. So looking at your roster, we have you, Mike Roussel. Who, by the way, Mike Roussel. Did you see this blog he posted in the forum? Unbelievable.
I had no idea.
Did you think he had that in him, or where did that come from?
I had no idea. I've never even seen him post on anything before.
I mean, neither have I. But anyways, incredibly well written. I saw him. I got an exclusive word with him in the gym yesterday. He was just working on some cardio, getting ready for this week. I am a Roussel fan for a lot of reasons. He hustles. He plays hard for as long as he's in the game. He passes the ball well. And when he gets the jump shot going, which isn't really his strength, but when that jump shot's going down, you guys are going to be tough to deal with.
Yeah, no, he's not like a natural jump shooter, but I think he's deceptively good jump shooter because his shot is ugly. He's got a real ugly jumper.
Horrendous.
But it works. He's got a weird release, but it works pretty well. And he was a little off actually this game, as were kind of all of us. Like I was definitely off. But when he's hitting it, we're pretty unstoppable. He was this game and the last game really getting a lot of good penetration, which is really tough when he's getting into the lane and being able to dump it to Jim. Like that's really kind of unstoppable. If they have to help off of Jim and go to him, it's over.
Yeah, I mean maybe we can calm down with the unstoppable talk. You are 1-5 at this point, but I mean you
guys.
But
I think we're going 4-5 from here on out.
Yeah. So on that note, next week you have Orlando Del Rey, who had a big victory over Madmen with a Box. What do you know about that team? What are your thoughts on that matchup going in?
They're not good. They're terrible. They're a terrible, terrible team.
Go on.
We'll win by 45 for sure.
Go on.
Alan and Stefan, Pizza Man, as everyone calls them.
Yeah.
They're my friends from high school.
I see.
Yeah. So they were on my team for the last 4 seasons. So we'll see what happens the next week because Stefan may not be able to make the game, which is kind of a bummer because I was going to guard him. But they're sort of a clunky team because I watched them play. They don't really gel quite together. They've got to kind of just dump it to Brett sometimes or just let the point guard drive. I don't know exactly how they make it work, but they do. So I think the main issues is going to be stopping them at the point. We have to play tight defense with the point guard, and Jim's got to be able to cover Brett. And then beyond that, it's just I don't know. We have to make sure we keep clicking on offense. But besides that, I think the defense is going to be really tough for this game. They make some matchup problems.
Yeah, they looked pretty good the other night. Curry, their point guard, who you mentioned, had a great game, great passer, pretty much cash from the free throw line. It's going to be a good game. I mean, they're 4-2. They're in 3rd place now. And let's face it, Josh, you guys need wins. I mean, you can maybe lose one more game and hope to get into the playoffs, and that's it. You have no margin for error almost. So,
like as much as that win against, or is that game against Something to Prove felt like a win, it was not in the stat book. So, we really need some actual W's.
Yeah, I mean, that. I hate to say it, but that was probably a moral victory for you guys. I mean, that team's undefeated now. They beat us the other night, and you took them down to the wire and held them to like 43 points or something. Tell me a little bit about that game.
Yeah, that was a pretty crazy game because the week before, the one I missed, we gave up 101 points. And we just played fantastic defense. That was we've been playing really well on defense. I don't know, somehow we've figured it out and kind of stopped being terrible on D, and we were just garbage for the first four weeks, and so that team is really good. That team is very, very talented. I think they were off. They weren't hitting everything.
Yeah.
I think their center, what is it, Tyreek?
Tyreek, yeah.
Tyreek. I think he's probably used to playing against small. There's nobody in the league as big as Jim, and I think that in itself was tough for him.
Yeah.
When I covered him, I covered him whenever Jim was out, and he just likes to shove you. That's his game. It's just kind of muscle into the hoop.
Yeah.
He's fast. He can go up, and he's and he's big, and he really just kind of tries to use his size against you. He's not really a cross you over, big, lots of pivots and pump fakes kind of guy. He's more of just push you down kind of guy. So I think that was a big thing, is that they didn't have that focal point of their offense with Jim covering him, and they were off from three also.
Yeah, they were able to beat us. I mean, we knew we weren't going to have an answer for Tyreek's size in the paint, but we thought that if we just kept running, then we had a chance, and it was pretty tight till the very end. But I think we scored like 7 points or 4 points in the last 8 minutes or something like that, and there's just no way you're going to beat a team like that with that kind of offensive output. Sorry, go ahead. Sorry. No, go ahead.
One interesting thing I found with the game is we were getting into the paint pretty easily from our perimeter players, which was surprising me. They're supposed to be a good defensive team on the perimeter, but we actually, Mike was getting into the paint like kind of every play at will. I think we ended up going away from that. They shut it down more, but I think they actually are more weak than people are giving them credit for on their perimeter defense. I think if you get a slashing point guard to just attack them from there and then dish down low, because they can step up, but they can't cover everybody if he's going by people. So I think that's one big weakness for them.
Yeah, one thing about that team I noticed is they don't like to go to their bench. They have 4 guys they like to use as much as they can, and when we played them, at least, I think their starting 4 played almost the entire game. So we thought if we ran with them, they'd get tired, but it just wasn't enough. I think we ended up getting tired in the end. All right. Anyway, so Cougar Hunters playoff mission. Give me a percentage chance that you guys are going to get in there. You got to, pass the rock to Lamar. They won. You got to get past them, and you have to leapfrog 2 other teams now, or 1 other team.
So we got to get.
I'll pull up the standings right now.
Yeah, I'm pulling them up too. So we need like 3 wins from here on out, and we're playing against Orlando Del Rey. So I think we can win that game for sure. We're not definitely going to win, but I think we definitely can.
Oh, in this league, any team can beat any team. I'm convinced.
Yeah, who's short circuit?
That's Guy Schoonmaker, Jesse Corwin, and Matt Salvatore, and Pat Lamb. Let's not forget Pat Lamb.
Yeah, Pat Lamb. I like us against them.
Yeah.
It depends whether Guy is really on, but I think I can cover Jesse. And yeah, I think Guy's a tough matchup. That guy's good. He's no pun intended. He's got a lot of skill, and he's a tough matchup. It's possible that I'll end up having to cover them. I don't know if Jim wants to be stretched out that far, because he likes to play outside a lot. He's kind of like Baxter, who just destroyed us week 1.
Yeah.
Like a taller, longer Baxter. So I think that'll be an interesting matchup. But I think we can take that one. I can't see who's the rest of the ones we're playing. Where do I see the full schedule?
I got it here. Hang on. Oh yeah, and quick hint about Guy. I think you put Proctor on him, he'll have 25 points in the first half. He'll run right around him.
Yeah.
All right, so we have. Oh, you have the early game. You have the matinee game versus Orlando Del Rey next week.
Yeah.
Then you've got short circuit the week after that, and then you really can't lose any more games because you only have 3 more games left. And then the last game of the season is pass the rock to Lamar. That's a winnable game for you.
Okay, so that's the last one. All right. Yeah.
So you have to win 3 and maybe even get help. If you lose 1, you definitely need a lot of help from other teams losing. But it's not impossible, and it's kind of a sort of criminal that you didn't get Ryan until 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, that was brutal. I think from week 1 we realized we had this big hole on our team, and we kept waiting for Captain to come back, but it never happened. So yeah, I think we're kind of rolling, but not getting that actual W against someone to prove, and that was a little rough, and not getting them till week 5.
Yeah, I mean, if you guys get into the playoffs as the 7 or 8, there's going to have to be some Blackborow for MVP discussion. There's just going to have to be, because you're going to have to shut down the best player on every opponent you face from here on in, which is doable for you. But I mean, the gauntlet is in front of you now.
Yeah, no, I've been talking, because I joke around with Tibbs all the time about Defensive Player of the Year, which I should have won the last 2 seasons in B2 4 because the 1 year he gave it to an entire team, which makes no sense, and then the next year he gave it to the second best player on the team. Like, I mean, there was another guy who actually could have been defensive player of the year, but he gave it to his teammate instead. So I don't really know. I averaged 5 blocks a game for 2 straight seasons. I feel like I could have won defensive player of the year. This year though, I'm all right. I'm not used to playing the 4. That's been a change for me.
Yeah.
And although I've been used to like playing against centers who pull me out, playing the actual 4 is just different positioning for me. And I think I haven't quite been on defensively. And I've been like had a few plays where just laziness and getting points given up. So I got to tighten that up for the last season. No giving up that kind of easy bullshit.
Yeah. And I know you're piling up 5 blocks a game. But for me, it's more about the eye test. Like, for example...
Yeah, no, it's absolutely. The 5 blocks a game.
For example, Stat had 31 points the other night, but I would also argue you did your job. I mean, you slowed him down to the point where he didn't win the game for his team, and you also prevented him from getting his other guys involved. So 31 points, wow. I mean, it seems terrible, but I thought you did a pretty good job on him.
Yeah, no, I'm the king of getting gaudy stats without actually affecting the game very much.
Yeah, well, Stat might be. All right.
Yeah, maybe.
All right. So, lastly, Josh, let me get your thoughts on the B Draft East this season. Has it been fun for you? I mean, I know the outcomes of some of these games hasn't been what you wanted, but what are your thoughts on the league as a whole?
It's been fantastic. I really loved the last few leagues, and this one's been way better than those. Yeah, there's just so much. Like, I mean, like we have these videos. That's great. That's awesome. You're doing this. A lot of interactivity on the forums. I don't post a lot, but I do read them all.
Yeah.
And yeah, no, it's been really great. I hope everyone's coming back for the next season. And yeah, I'll definitely be back. I've enjoyed it a lot.
Yeah, agreed. And now we also have this emerging advanced analytics blog coming from Roussel. So the coverage in this league has been just sensational, I think, and it's been a blast.
Yeah, and even though we haven't won a lot of games. I mean, I've never played on a good team so far. Since I've been in CAC, they've all been terrible.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of used to it, and I just like going out and playing. I mean, I like to win, and when I'm in the games, I want to win. But once the game's over, I mean, it's just a rec league after all. So like, as much as I like to win, it's more just having fun, and the interactivity on the blogs and stuff, like, that's great.
Yeah, I love it too. And even when you're on a bad team, just going in there and maybe springing a big upset feels like a championship win sometimes, so that can be just as fun. So it's still a blast.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, so last thing, I know I do this with every guest I have on the show. I got to put you on the hot seat. I'm going to give you 5 guys.
Sounds good.
Which I have not prepped you for, and you just give me a quick knee-jerk reaction to each of them.
All right.
Sound good? You ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
All right, 1, Mike Roussel.
He's fantastic, completely underrated. He got drafted way too low. He's a legitimate one of the best point guards in the league. He's a good player, very good player.
Agreed.
He could shore up his perimeter defense a little, though he did in the last game, actually.
You've been a good guest because you'll actually say bad things about people. Most of the guys come on the show.
Yeah, I don't give a shit.
Myself included. I don't want to say anything bad about anyone because I'm afraid karma's going to come back and give me like a 4.2 rebound game the following week.
I mean, I know I have massive flaws in my game, and I'm so much worse than I used to be, and I'm out of shape, and I'm fine admitting all that. No one's perfect.
Yeah. It's okay. In B draftees, it's okay to be mediocre. Let's face it.
Yeah.
All right, number 2, Jim Proctor.
He's a beast. Another one went way too low. When he first got drafted, I thought it was a terrible pick. I still think it was a bad pick because of the fact that he was like, on the description they said he was super raw. He's never played basketball before. He's just a big dumb idiot. He has no idea what he's doing. He's a good basketball player and a smart basketball player. He knows exactly what he's doing. So, I mean, I don't know how he slipped that late. It ended up working out great for us, but yeah, weird pick.
Yeah, he's certainly tough to deal with, and I'll tell you right, unless something catastrophic happens in his game, he's going to be the most improved player. From week 1 to now, it's like night and day. Yep. He's gotten so much better. I mean, at first he could barely hit the backboard. Now he's pulling down 16, 18 boards a game or something, and he's scoring north of 20 almost every week. So he's been much better than I think people thought he was going to be.
He just needs to not get so many fouls. That's the big one.
Yeah, well, he comes in, he catches the ball, and like clockwork, man, he just comes in and swings those elbows high. And Tibbs
Yeah,
got
but
hit with.
Cap doesn't call that all that much. It's the defensive fouls, really. Cap never calls the offensives.
Yeah, I know, but Tibbs got absolutely murdered in the game you guys faced him. I'm surprised he didn't lose any teeth. I mean, he got absolutely smoked by a couple of those elbows because when you're
He did
6'1",
the same.
6'2", 6'3", in that range, his elbows are right at your face. So you got to really watch out for those.
He did the same thing to the guy next the week after too.
He's an animal, but you don't want. No one wants to stand in there and take that contact. So he sometimes scores easily.
Everyone who's covered him just complains the entire time to the ref.
Yeah, he's tough to deal with. All right, number 3, Matt Kaplan.
He does a good job. He actually does. I give him shit about the only thing he does inconsistently is he'll call some ticky-tack foul. I think honestly I like the way he calls the game. I'd rather he never call a foul in the entire if he never called a single foul, I'd be very happy because I just fuck up people on defense. But he calls the game pretty loose, which is good. I like that. He lets us play. But then every once in a while he make ticky-tack fouls where he's not wrong. They are fouls, but they're I only like a foul being called when the foul is what caused the person to miss the shot. Honestly, that's when I would call a foul.
Yeah, you're not wrong, Josh. But in a league where we miss layups without any contact anyway, we're always looking for excuses. So
yeah.
I think that's
missed 4 layups this last game. It's ridiculous.
Oh, it's embarrassing. I hate even thinking about it. But I think that's why we clamor for those sort of lighter fouls at times. All right, next up. Steve, the Pizza Man Piazza, sorry.
I've been playing with him since 8th grade. He's gotten infinitely better. Better. He still has the ugliest game you'll ever see. Just all weird turnaround jumpers that are just all like clunky elbows and stuff. But his footwork's so much better than it used to be. He was very, very poor footwork down low. But he's gotten way better. He practices a lot. He works out. He's in much better shape than he used to be. Mm-hmm. He can actually play good defense now. He never used to be able to play any defense. Mm-hmm. He's turned into like a legitimately good player. And his post game's good. He's got that fadeaway that's just money every time.
Yeah, from like 8 or 10 feet. I mean, he's almost automatic. Now, Josh, do me a favor. Clear something up for me. It's Steven, right? It's not Stefan, is it?
So this is a classic problem. So he... in 7th grade, a kid from the school, Vladimir, he said Stephen. Isn't that pronounced Stefan? His name is Steven.
Right. That's what I thought.
But after that, everyone started calling him Stefan. I came to the school in 8th grade, so me, like everyone else who went to school with him in high school, all call him Stefan. And it's just he decided when he went to college that he wanted to go by his actual name, which is completely unreasonable of him. So now it's just confusing.
So insiders call him Stefan because they're in on the joke, but his name is legally Steven, and it should be addressed as such unless you're familiar with him.
Stephen Joseph Piazza, named after Steven Tyler and Joseph Perry. He'll be happy for me pointing that out. He really likes that.
Yeah, that was impressive. You've known that for years, it sounded like.
Yeah.
All right. Last but not least, you mentioned him earlier, Dave Baxter.
Oh, he's a fucking monster. He just destroyed me week 1. The way he plays the game, you kind of there's not like that one thing that he does amazingly well. And not to like be exaggerative, but like in the same way that Michael Jordan didn't have that one thing that he did exactly. I'm not saying he's Michael Jordan, but for this league, maybe he is. He's just kind of good at everything.
Yeah.
He got shit on by Guy, but like everyone gets shit on by Guy when Guy's on. So
yeah.
He's a very, very good player. Nice guy too.
Yeah, I love Dave. And the funniest thing about him, you take a look at him, and you're like, no, this guy plays basketball. He scores 35 points a game. You've got to be kidding me. But as soon as he catches the ball and goes behind his back and hits a 3 or converts a difficult-looking lefty layup in minutes. I mean, he scores in bunches. Then you're like, oh, I guess this kid can't play. But yeah, great guy. The pride of Maine, one of Maine's greatest exports. I love him. He's a huge asset to the league and maybe the community. I don't know. All right.
Yeah. So last week he said I need to shoot more. I think he needs to shoot less. He should stick to the layups. The mid-range and three-point game is not really his thing. Take the ball in.
Well, now wait a minute, Josh. Let me just check he's north of 33 points a game.
Oh, he can score. I don't think he shouldn't be trying to score. Yeah. I think he shouldn't be taking jumpers.
I see. Yeah, and also his team's 2-4, which I didn't realize. They had a tough loss the other night to pass the rock to Lamar, in which Jeff Rubin lost his mind and took off kicking water coolers. It was a big fiasco. But
who is Lamar?
That's like Kerkorian, the other Proctor, Quigley, Lerner, Sherman Ash, and.
No, but who is actual Lamar?
Oh, I think it's a Lamar Odom joke. Like, I guess he smokes a ton of crack, and so, as in, like, rocks. At least that's what I assumed it was. I never confirmed that with anybody.
Yeah, got the joke now.
Yeah. Good work, boys. All right, so that's pretty much all I have for you, Josh. Any other comments, notes, any final thoughts for the show?
Stefan should show up next week. He's got work, but you should try to show up just so he can not score any points against me.
Oh, he's doubtful for this week's game?
Yeah.
That is absolutely brutal.
The early games are tough for him because he can't get off of work.
Well, Jesus, no one's going to tune into that game now. He's one of the biggest fan favorites we have.
Yeah, well, Alan's playing, so that's good.
Yeah, Alan puts asses in the seats, too. All right, Josh, that's it for me, buddy. Thank you so much for being on the show, and good luck this week, and good luck on your playoff run throughout the rest of the season.
Thank you.
All right, we're good, man. We got it. Well, there you have it. Josh Blackborow, talking shit, not afraid to talk about anybody. And that's the show. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next week. Be Draft East, best league in the land.
My fam, I'm sitting on sixes, no 20s in my gun. Look at this motor knocking, because it is a lemon. My wife from Georgia peaches, but you look more like a lemon. These sour apple bitter bitches, I'm not fucking with them. I'm truly stupid paid, that's just how I feel today. I'm moving slow, cause codeine cereals in my lemonade. I'm standing in the shade, and I'm selling lemonade. 600 a pint to going right off in the A. Lemonade, diamond bracelet, put it in your face. Lemon head, diamond earrings I wore yesterday. I'm pimping wearing linen, that's just how I'm chillin'. I'm smoking grapes and selling chickens, Corvette painted lemon. School chick.
Diamonds on the chain with the V-cuts. Diamonds on the chain with the